Why don't I drink alcohol? Owolabby, why don't you drink alcohol? It's just a little sip. It's a little sip of the Henny.
Yo, bro, I think I had too much Hennessy, man. This Hennessy getting to me.
Little sip off the Bacardi. Why don't you drink alcohol, Owolabby? And you know, this is a question that a lot of people that meet me for the first time, they ask me when they meet me at like a party or any type of like event of sorts, right? And I always have to tell them like, yo, I don't drink alcohol. I just don't drink it. And they're like, yo, why don't you drink it? Why? What is it about alcohol that makes you not drink it? And here's why.
You be doing, let me demonstrate. And tell the shorty that I like her cause she got the K. It's the summertime, and I see what I be looking for like every time. Hit my line, shorty wanna.
Hey yo, so if you're new to the channel, welcome back to the channel. What's goody? What going, gang? My channel is all about providing you with a daily dose of edutainment. My goal, my aspiration is to both entertain you, make you laugh, make you brighten up your day, but also give you knowledgeable insights that you can apply to your own day-to-day life and make it better. So definitely dab on that subscribe button, hit them folks not like button. Whoa. I appreciate you. So you know, this is a question that I get asked a lot, right? And first of all, let me put a disclaimer, preface this by saying that alcohol isn't necessarily bad. Most substances out there aren't necessarily bad, but it's the abuse of these substances that make them bad. This is the quote that I always hold true to myself, or in anything, like for coffee, for sex, for
3 weeks later, many months later. So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Sports, working out is like too much of any good thing is good for nothing. Everything has its place to a certain extent. Everything can be used for good, but if you abuse it, you start seeing negative side effects, like a point of diminishing returns, right? If you work out every single day, 7 days a week, without no break, what do you think? You're not giving your body the ability to recover. If you drink 7 days a week, or drink every weekend or every week, there are certain side effects that start happening to it too, right? So why don't I drink? First of all, I want my clear skin. I want my skin's not, popping right now as I would like it to. But one of the things that alcohol does is like it depletes the nutrients in your skin.
Alright, should look good in the moonlight. All these pussy niggas so by mine. Spotlight, moonlight.
It makes you feel like dry in a sense, right? So why I don't drink alcohol essentially is like the health reasons, and then the social reasons, the inability to have fun without alcohol, or the inability to control yourself. Because when you think about it, right? Most of the times, a lot of drunk people in a certain enclosed environment, drunk people plus an enclosed environment equals a recipe for disaster. Because you see all these fights, you see fights at stadiums, you see fights at all these different places.
I'm gonna tell you something I'll never forget you for, bro.
What?
You took my girl when we was little, G.
Man, what you talking about, bro?
You know back when we was on College Street, motherfucker, you know what I'm talking about.
That new girl on the block?
Exactly.
That wasn't even your girl, bro. She ain't even like you.
But she ain't supposed to like you.
Man, how can I control that?
What you wanna do?
Bro, you trying to
What
fight
you
me
wanna
on
do,
something that
man?
happened that long
What you wanna
ago?
do then? That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. You be thinking I'm a...
Involving people who are drunk, right? And I've never wanted the inability to lose like control of my senses or my inhibitions. And it's like I even gotten to the point where some guys, I guess girls too to a certain extent, especially guys when they want to approach a girl, they need that liquid courage, so to speak, to approach a girl. And you always think like using things outside of yourself to be better isn't necessarily the wave, isn't necessarily what you want to be doing, right? It's like Can you have fun without alcohol? Can you approach a girl without alcohol? There's like, these should be like bonuses, not, it should be like added to the recipe, not the main ingredients, you know what I'm saying? So, I guess when people ask me, they just assume that, you know, everybody drinks alcohol, everybody enjoys Hennessy or Bacardi or rum.
Hide and drink, then you must get
I'm drinking rum and Red Bull, and you see, let me have.
Or whatever it is, right? I've gotten my fair share of peer pressure to drink, but I've never drank. And people, and I don't want to come up as saying like, yo, I'm better than you for drinking alcohol. Because I've had my own like demons or own issues as well, right? I don't take any type of substance or drug or marijuana or alcohol. But I have struggled with porn, right? So that was like more, porn is like, you know, there's certain substances that you can evidently see that someone is struggling with something, right? You see a cigarette smoker, you can see them smoking cigarettes, and you can see the green teeth, you can see like, you can smell it. Smell the weed, smell the cigarettes, you can smell the breath of an alcoholic person. But there's nothing you can really see. You can't really see someone and say, oh, he's struggling with porn, unless you interact with them sexually, right? So I'm not saying that I'm better than other people. I'm just saying that I have different struggles, so to speak, than other people. And I feel like part of it is, I think that's also why I've never wanted to smoke weed, drink alcohol. Right? Because like once you have the initial exposure or initial couple exposures, you start liking it and want to use more of it. This is one of the reasons why I wish I had never watched porn to begin with. If I never watched porn, I'd never be addicted to it. I'd never, you know, be consumed by porn and its pleasures, right? So I understand why people would drink alcohol and even become addicted to it. So I can relate with that, right? So again, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody for not drinking alcohol. I'm just saying that because of my experience with porn, it makes me less likely or less desirable to want to drink alcohol or smoke weed or any other substance that takes me out of my actual state. You know what I'm saying? So Robin Williams actually documented his own experience with it. And he's talking about his experience with regards to being an addict, to being an alcohol addict, you could say. Is that the word? Is that the proper term? An alcoholic, there you go. His experience with being an alcoholic and how he went about trying to recover and become alcohol-free of sorts. So I'm gonna let him speak on his own perspective as well.
You're not easy on yourself in this show, are you?
No. You know, as an alcoholic, I talk about, you know, some warning signs, you know, like DUIs in a cul-de-sac, things like that. The idea of, you know, have you been through it to talk about it and see, like, you know, this is what you go through. Heart surgery, you know, alcoholism. I went to rehab in wine country just to keep my options open. And the idea of, you know, these are things you got to talk about.
Well, you got your own vineyard.
Yes, that's like Gandhi owning a delicatessen. Yeah, what are you doing? This is not for my consumption.
So you were dry for 20 years?
Yes.
Why did you fall off?
I was in a little town in Alaska. It wasn't the end of the world, but you can see it from there. And it was like all of a sudden I thought, I could drink. It's also that same thought you have if you look off a large building and go, I can fly. And within a week it was like, gone, you know. And now, you know, I realize I can't. So that was the gift, you know.
How vividly can you remember falling into the trap in the first place with cocaine and alcohol?
I don't vividly remember anything from that. It's like there is this thing for alcoholics called a blackout, which isn't really a blackout. It's more like sleepwalking with activities. And I believe it's your conscience going into a witness protection program, going, you're about to have sex with a hobbit. I've got to go now. Good luck. I'm checking out. I'm leaving the body on, but we're not going to remember anything. Good luck to you. Take care.
But do you remember getting into it?
Getting into it? No.
Was
I
it a
remember
gradual thing? Or?
Yeah, it was very gradual. It was just, and you're off, you know.
Oh, yes.
You're off and running. And then the alcohol kicked in and decided, and then eventually you realized, I can't. I remember stopping it on my own because I was about to have a son. And I didn't want to be coked up going, hey, Dad loves you. Here's a little switch. I'm going to throw up on you. You know, you don't want to be like that. And I had to kind of go, but I did it alone. So that was why it was, you know, 20 years without any help.
Of course, there are people who would say, why did you ever need cocaine?
Yeah, it's a bit redundant.
You're as fast without it as
Totally.
as the heaviest cocaine addict would be.
Yeah, it's that weird thing. But I think I did it because it would actually allow me not to talk. It was like, reverse medication. Why they give Ritalin to hyperactive children is that idea of kind of, oh, okay, I don't have to talk to people. It just kind of shuts you down, which is a, word self-medication.
And I've read that your friend John Belushi's death from an overdose was...
That scares you.
A bit of a rude shock for you.
Totally. And that, but more importantly, my son. I think that was the beginning of kind of, thinking outside the box of, you've got a responsibility, and it's more than you.
How hard was it to break the grip the second time around?
Not hard once you go to rehab. I mean,
Really?
rehab is, that's the beginning of kind of, the idea is you got to surrender. You got to just say, I can't do it. Because, I went to rehab with a lot of doctors and psychiatrists. And the more intelligent you think you are, the harder it is to let go. You think, I've got a solution. I'll just drink a little bit. It's like saying, I'll just partially circumcise myself. I'll be fine. And then you have to go, nope, you lose. You can't do it. You need help. And at that point, that's the beginning. And then, once you do that, you're out and running.
But yeah, like I said, I never wanted alcohol to be something I depended on to talk to a girl, to have fun, to socialize. And when you do use these substances, you're taking away. It's like they give and take. Everything gives and takes. When you use alcohol, you're weakening your social muscles or your ability to socialize, right? When you get into a new place, you have that, a little bit of inhibitions. You have a little bit of, reservations. But once you start getting mingled in everybody and you start actually talk a little bit, then you start loosening up and you start building those social skills again. But when you get to the place and drink alcohol right away, it's like you're kind of losing that social muscle of sorts that you can build on your own. But if any of y'all are struggling with alcohol and you actually want to quit drinking too much, definitely check out my free mini course, free mini email series on how you can go about, specifically step by step, how you can go about quitting your addiction to alcohol. Personalized approach that works for you on quitting drinking once and for all. So check out my mini course, check out my mini series. I also have a ton of other videos I've made with regards to alcohol addiction and a whole how to drink and not get drunk, how to get over a hangover, stuff like that. Check it out in the cards, the description or pinned comment. But if you actually you're serious about quitting your addiction, check my mini course linked in the pinned comment as well. Truth for Addiction. And yeah, that's it, bro. Glad I was able to share my experience with you, and hopefully you were able to relate with Robert Williams as well. God bless, much love, peace and joy, namaste, and always remember, always, 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 if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. Whatever it is, people, environment, jobs, situations, if it's not nurturing you or making you better, cut it off. Alright, fam, deuces.
You standing right there, you gotta come inside. It's the summertime, and I see what I be looking for like every time. Hit my line, shorty wanna turn up, so I told her fly. Don't be